All right, I've got an exciting one for us today, and that is because we are going to be doing a drive in the 2026 Outback. You'll notice no camera in my hands, and that's because I got this sweet setup here, a hat clip for point of view perspective to show you guys what it feels like to drive this all new 2026 Subaru Outback. Unfortunately, the turbo trim that we just got in is sold. That's the deep emerald green over here. And something I just noticed, this is just a small little nuance. I noticed that the Touring XT has these 19-inch wheels. I love the design on these. And then unfortunately, it looks like the Touring non-turbo does not get the same design. They're 18-inch alloy wheels. They're still very nice, but I just have a personal preference for the look and the design of those 19-inch alloy wheels over this. But anyways, let's hop in, let's take this one for a drive and talk about my initial impressions of this all new generation Subaru Outback. Let's go ahead and start it up. Make sure heated seats are going over here. Climate control, that's a big update this year. Got the physical controls to adjust the vent location, fan speed, things like that, all very easy to use. And of course we have this large digital gauge cluster that is now standard. And you can cycle through a couple different menus or a couple different settings within your gauge cluster. You can have this calm view. You can have your standard view that has the tachometer, digital speedometer over there. You still have your digital information display where you can see tire pressure, fuel economy, things like that, all in the display, or you can have it zeroed out if you don't want all that there. And then of course you have your navigation, which it's loading up right now. This is the onboard navigation. A lot of people were asking about this in my last video. Can you put Google Maps up on the display? I have an iPhone, and whenever you connect to the wireless Apple CarPlay, you can't put the Google Maps up on the display, at least as of yet. I'm sure that will come out as an update later in the future, but you can put your Apple Maps and Waze up on this digital gauge cluster. Of course, you can have it over here in the main screen as well, but for those who asked, as of right now, at least for iPhone users, we don't have the Google Maps up on the display. If you have Android and you've tested this out with the new 26 Outback, let us know in the comment section below if for Android users, if you can display your Google Maps up on the digital gauge cluster, because I would be curious to know. So anyways, let's go ahead, and I think I've got the seat adjusted where I would like it. You do have the thigh support on the Touring XT, and the Wilderness now has the optional package that adds the Napa leather and this thigh support as well. Unfortunately, the limited trim line does not have that, so that is something to be aware of if you're looking at one of these new Outbacks. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put it in gear, take off here, and see how it rides. Talked about this in my last video, but the sound insulation in these new Outbacks is really impressive. It does have the auto start stop like we've seen for many years now. They do give you a quick command to be able to turn it off down here with this button with the A and the arrow around it. I'm gonna leave it on. It actually doesn't feel quite as jarring as it used to, and I'm sure they've updated that with motor mounts and other technologies. So we'll go ahead and get I'm gonna set our cruise control here. Set it right at 35 miles an hour, try to go the speed limit here. And I have this is not hands-free driving, this is what they call lane centering, Subaru's had for many years. Now, there is something coming out called hands-free assist from Subaru. It's only going to be available, to my knowledge, on the Touring trim, so this trim line, and the Touring XT. The XT adds that turbo engine. And for those who are taking delivery of their Subaru right now in the month of November, we got these a little bit earlier than expected, that hands-free assist for those specific trim levels will be available at a later date via software update. It's not going to be an update that is available over the air. From what I've been told, it is something that you will have to take to your Subaru retailer later, but it'll be a retroactive software update for those who have that higher trim level and who will be able to take advantage of that new feature called hands-free driving assist. I'm going to do a full video on that once we have that available to us, so you guys will get to check it out, and I'll show you all my impressions of that when that comes out. But I am really interested to see that new safety technology. So we're just driving along here. We'll get out on the highway here in just a moment and see how it performs on the highway as well. If you notice the green light up there on the glass, this is not a heads-up display. People have asked about that for years. Does the Subaru Outback have a heads-up display? And I just tapped my brake to turn that off since we're going around the corner, so it deactivated. But when that's lit up green up there, that is your Eyesight assist monitor telling you that your adaptive cruise control is active. So when your adaptive cruise control is active, you'll see it up on the digital gauge as well as up on the windshield. So just gives you another point of view, another reference there. That Eyesight assist monitor will also light up yellow or red depending on what's going on. For example, if you depart your lane and you have that lane keep assist turned on, it'll light up yellow and it'll flash. You'll see two lights, but it'll flash on the side that you're departing on. And I'll show you as an example here in just a moment. It'll light up red if you have an obstacle ahead or if your eyesight is deactivated, whether you depart your lane and it deactivates, or you've got a vehicle up ahead that is coming to a quick stop and your car is trying to apply the brakes for you. So we've got our adaptive cruise control set, and you'll notice now there's 3 green lights on that Eyesight assist monitor, and that's because the third light in the center is detecting that truck out ahead. And now we're cruising along. You'll notice it does say keep your hands on. If you take your hands off the wheel, or if you merge out of your lane, you'll see it lights up red and it's lighting on the left side, showing you on the Eyesight assist monitor. If you don't have your cruise control on and you depart your lane, it lights up yellow there on the left side because we departed on the left side. It also has, this is new for 26, the Outback has haptic feedback in your steering wheel. So it actually vibrated on the steering wheel. Let me see if it did it on the, I was seeing if it felt like it did it more on the left side. I can't tell, but it does, it vibrates whenever you are leaving your lane. Just another little warning there. It's very gentle. I don't mind it at all, but that's kind of cool because they've got that now for this new Outback. That's a new update this year. Subaru also updated our power steering rack for this generation. So the Crosstrek got an updated power steering rack in 2024 model year. The Forester got it in the 25 model year. And now the Outback has that updated power steering rack. I'm pretty sure similar to that of the Crosstrek and what the Forester has had for a couple years now. So it's very direct, you know, drives really nice. If you get these in a parking lot and you're trying to swoop into a parking space, or you want to do a full turn at full lock, these have a really good turning radius. They're very nimble for at least the size of the vehicle. I'm going to go ahead and activate AVH, auto vehicle hold. If you have that turned on, you'll see it flashing right here on the center gauge cluster, telling us that it's active. What this does is I can take my hands, or I can take my feet off the brake, my foot off the brake while we're sitting here at a red light. And so this is really helpful in traffic. This has been around for a long time. It's not something that's new for the 26, but since we're here, I might as well explain it because I don't do very many driving videos. So it's really helpful in traffic, really helpful in drive-through lanes. It's really helpful if you are stopped at a train crossing. If you're stuck for an extended period of time, you can tap the brake like I did there, or you can tap the gas and it will release automatically. And very seamless, really nice. The idea there is it keeps you from having to put the car in park. I was hoping our blind spot detection would light up on the mirror so I could show you all that. The light is smaller for this generation. That Subaru started doing that the last couple years on our other Subaru models like the Crosstrek and the Forester. It's not that big of a deal to me, but I have a 23 Outback and it has the larger light on the inside of the mirror, and I think I prefer the larger light, but it's really not that big of a deal. It still does what it's supposed to do, and it's still visible enough to where, yeah, if you've got somebody in your blind spot, it tells you. So we'll hop up on the highway here. This has the 2.5 non-turbo. You can get a 2.4 turbo engine if you want more horsepower and torque, if you want more towing capabilities. This one will tow up to 2,700 pounds. Turbo will tow up to 3,500 pounds. But this one was retuned, so it has just a little bit more torque than the previous gen. Plenty of acceleration in my opinion. There we go, there's our blind spot detection. Something else cool, so if I turn my blinker on, sorry about that guy, I was really just showing you an example. If I turn my blinker on, it flashes there. I wanted to show him, or I wanted to show you all that it flashes. Now if I try to merge, it will actually, so I have my lane keep assist on, it actually nudges me back in my lane. That's a new feature. I believe it's called emergency lane keep assist. So instead of just lane keep assist, it's called emergency lane keep assist, and that will keep you in your lane just a little bit longer to help avoid accidentally merging. So I'm sure those people are a little confused what I was trying to do there, but I wanted to show you all an example of how that worked. So we have our adaptive cruise control set at 65 miles an hour. You set it by clicking this top right button and then clicking down. Let's see if we can get a good thumbnail picture here. Of course, you should always keep your hands on the wheel when you're driving, but you'll notice we're only going 54 miles an hour, and that's because the car up in front is going slower than the 65 that we set at the speed limit. So it's a nice way to cut down on driver fatigue. There we go, my car is blinking at me, telling me to put my hands back on the wheel. I'm really curious to see how that hands-free assist is going to work. I've heard that it'll work between 0 and up to about 85 miles an hour. And there's quite a few other parameters that have to be met as well. So it's a little more advanced than what we're used to, and like I said, I'll be making a full detailed video on that when we get the opportunity to test that out. Overall, the acceleration on this is really nice. The ride quality, the road noise, or I should say the reduction in road noise for this new generation is really nice. Not just on the back roads, but even up on the highway at highway speeds. It's very quiet, due in part to the fact that they have you can just tell tapping on it how the front glass is insulated. You have the door cards insulated, the headliner insulated. I'm sure they've got it down in the footwell as well. The seats have been redesigned. They are they're no longer on a bracket like the older generation. They're similar to that of the Forester and the Crosstrek, so that helps play into the vibrations that are transferred to your passengers while you're driving, and it's overall a very comfortable riding vehicle. I'm going to turn on this other screen. I wanted to show you all something I noticed. So if I turn my hazards on, see how the lights are flashing there? So that is kind of cool because it shows you like where your blinkers are. If you have your brakes applied, which we do right now, but you'll notice whenever I take my foot off the brake and then if I apply them again, you'll notice that it shows on the center gauge cluster. I like this calm screen is what Subaru calls it. It's very minimal. You don't have a lot going on there. You've got your your necessary information like your digital speedometer, but you don't have a bunch of unwanted kind of noise. Now, if you want, you can display your audio, your individual tire pressures, all those things that we were used to seeing on the center multifunction display on the previous gen. Is just over to the left now. Yeah, these are still very stable. That's a pretty sharp turn right there. Pretty stable. Subaru's always done a really good job at that, of having a low center of gravity, so whenever you're taking turns, even at speed, you feel planted. You feel like you're in control and the vehicle is very stable. I'm gonna hop over here to hopefully an empty parking lot and show you all the turning radius on this. Of course, if you all have more questions, we're just now getting these Outbacks on the lot here. You all had a lot of great questions in my last video. I'm working on a video to answer a lot of your all's questions next. So if you have more questions, let me know. I'd love the opportunity to answer any questions you all have. So, all right. Let's just do a full lock here. So we went from, I think we only went 2 spaces over. Like this is, let's try it again. Yeah, I mean this, you can tell this has a really nice turning radius. Getting in and out of parking spaces is really easy. I know one question that you all had was, how does it feel getting in and out of the car? And a lot of people would, when they were comparing the Outback to the Forester, they would look at the roof line and the seat position here. And that, a lot of times that's a determining factor on whether or not they go with the Outback or the Forester based on how much headroom they have and how easy it is for them to get in and out of the vehicle. And I will say, it's really easy. It's not hard to get in and out. I think that's going to make it a more difficult decision for those looking at both the Forester and the Outback. I do still feel that the Forester sits, the seat position, if you were to position them both all the way up, I think the Forester still sits up just slightly higher by an inch or two, and the roof line is still just slightly higher. But with this roof line being taller now compared to the last generation, that makes it even more of a similarity in my opinion. Give you guys a glimpse of what the backup camera looks like. Let's use this tight parking space here as an example. Got an updated large display there, super nice. Go ahead and back up here, makes it easy. And now, this is an update for 26, that 360 surround view camera. It's a bird's eye view. So we can line up perfect with the curb, with the car right next to us. It just makes it super easy. And I think we can, let's see if we can, so there's a view button right here. If you press that, you can see how close you are to the curb, your backup camera, just a couple different views there to give you a better visual. So I think this is a really good addition. I think if you put it in drive and click the view button, it also shows you a couple other perspectives. Your forward view, this would be incredibly helpful for me and my wife in our garage. We've got, our garage is wide enough, but it's not very long and it barely fits our Outback in there. And so this would be nice to have. Now, the front view camera or the surround view camera, unfortunately, is not on every trim level. So you will have to pick the exact trim that has that. And I believe it's only on the Touring XT, our Wilderness line. Of course, you kind of have to have it on a Wilderness if you're going to be, if you do plan to take it off-roading, so you can see rocks and debris out ahead. but it's only on certain trim lines. I drove a limited 2.5 the other day in the 26 Outback, and it did not have the front view camera. So I know it's not on, unfortunately, on every single one of them. So something to be aware of if you are looking to get one of these. All right, guys, that's my initial thoughts. I do think that this is a really well-built vehicle. It drives really nice. I have a 23 Outback myself, as many of you probably already know by now. And if you haven't yet had an opportunity, definitely check one out. See for yourself. See if it's worth the upgrade to the new 26 Subaru Outback. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you want to see more driving videos, point of view videos, let me know down in the comment section below. As always, let me know what questions you all have. I'll do my best to answer those both in the comment section and with future videos. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one.